Hi there, it's Carol with Carolbcrafts. Today we'll be making this lovely thank you card. It's card number 3 in my Sailing Home Class to Go kit. Check out my website www.carolbcrafts.com to see what current Class to Go kit I'm offering. Now if you don't have the kit, don't worry, I'll give you the supplies and dimensions as we go along so that you can make this adorable thank you card with us. We'll be using the Sailing Home stamps and the smooth sailing dies that come as a bundle. In addition, you'll want your soft suede ink and your early espresso ink. For adhesives, you'll want mini dimensionals, multi-purpose glue, snail, and mini glue dots. I'll be using my Take Your Pick tool, and also this is the kit that you'll need here. It has the Mossy Meadow DSP, and grab your 4x6 sheet of window sheet. We'll be using that as well. So I'll clear this away and we'll get ready to do our stamping. So in your kit you'll want to get the things that you're going to be stamping on. We have 2 pieces of Whisper White that have been die cut with the rectangle stitched dies, the 4th smallest rectangle stitched die. Then you'll get 2 pieces of a stitched oval die from the Stitched Shapes framelits, and this is the smallest stitched oval from the Stitched Shapes. And then lastly, you'll want this piece of Whisper White, which is not Whisper White, Very Vanilla. Sorry, these are all Very Vanilla. 3.5 by 5. And that's what we're going to be stamping on, so everything else we can put away for now. So the stamps we're going to be using will be the thanks stamp, the lighthouse, and the seagulls. And then for the inside we'll be using the rope. So we're going to start with our 4th smallest stitched rectangle, Very Vanilla, and we're going to get our lighthouse stamp and kind of put that here, kind of centered the same distance from the bottom and the top, and you want it so that it's going to be straight, not leaning. And pick that up. Now we're going to use soft suede to die cut to ink this up. We're going to use soft suede to stamp our lighthouse. Now this has detail, so I'm going to rub it to make sure I get all that good detail, and then stamp it. And of course that's going to need another stamp, so I'm going to ink it up again. Now I could ink it again if I wanted a really rich image, but I do kind of want that to be not as rich, so that when I stamp my birds will stand out. So I'm going to clean off this stamp. And now I'm going to bring in my birds, and I'm going to stamp actually over the lighthouse, and the bird with its wings spread is going to go about halfway up the lighthouse, and make sure that it's not flying upside down. That looks about where I want it. There. Pick that up. I'm going to use early espresso ink for this, and again these birds you want to kind of rub so that you get that image, the kind of grain image, graph type image. Okay, so I have that. I might do it one more time because I do want it to be darker than my lighthouse. And I'm going to clean that off really good and dry it. I'm going to use my Stampin' scrub for that, drying that. So make sure that it's good and dry and clean, because you don't want it to make an image when you're trying to place it. So I'm going to kind of place it where it's the birds are kind of flying downward. like that. Okay, I think that that's good. So we're done with this part. Now we're going to bring in our window sheet. So we're going to bring in our 4x6 piece of window sheet. This time we're going to put it vertical where it's 4x6, and in the bottom left we're going to put our rope vertical here, and we're going to stamp that image with soft suede. Just going to stamp on the plastic for now. We're going to bring our piece of Very Vanilla 3.5 by 5, and we're going to put this along the side here. Put that in place and remove the plastic. Ink up our stamp. We'll stamp our first image. And I'm just going to keep that kind of light because it is the inside. So now I'm going to take this off, put our plastic back in place in the corner. So now I'm going to slide this underneath and match up the ropes so that they meet. Try not to overlap them that much if possible. And then when you're happy with, you think it's straight and you're happy with the way that it looks, you can remove the plastic. Whoops. Just be sure you don't move your cardstock like I almost did. Put that in place and then ink up your stamp again. And now we have our ropes for the inside. So all we need to do now is our thanks. So I'll clean that stamp off. I'm also going to clean off my plastic and dry it. Bring my plastic back in, put it in horizontal or landscape this time. My thanks stamp, I'm going to put that in the bottom left corner. Now this is the smallest stitched shapes oval. I'm going to put that on a piece of scratch paper with a little dab of snail to hold that in place, and then I'm going to slide that underneath my plastic and line it up so that the thanks looks where I want it to be. And then when I'm happy, I'm going to put my magnet on my scratch paper and remove the plastic. Go ahead and put that down to hold that down. So I'll ink up my stamp and stamp my thanks. Well, I actually wanted that in early espresso, but not too late. I'll just ink it up with early espresso, and that will make it a little darker. And there we go. So I'm going to clean off this stamp. So I'll bring in some of our other items. We're going to need our 2 pieces of soft suede, and we're going to die cut these. This one is 2 inches by 4 3/8. That's going to go behind this. It's going to need to be distressed though, which means we're going to put ink around the edges. So that soft suede 2 by 4 3/8. Now this is a piece of soft suede which is a 2 by 8.5, and we're going to die cut from this. We're going to die cut 2 of these ropes and 1 of the knotted rope. So I've die cut those. I'm going to get my take your pick tool and push out. Now you'll find out that there are like tiny little indentions here. So what I want to do is I want to kind of distress this rope. So I'm going to get that little sponge eyeshadow applicator, And I'm going to distress these. I'll get a piece of scratch paper. So I'm going to lay these out flat with the front side up. I'm going to just take my soft suede and ink up and just kind of trying to get just the sides, but it's kind of hard to do. So I'm going to just kind of do the sides lightly. I don't want it to be too dark. Okay, that just makes it look a little more real. So now I'm going to take my piece of soft suede that's 2 by 4 3/8, and I'm going to use some early espresso to distress it. And you can just use the other side of your little sponge and just kind of get ink on your sponge and kind of just put it on the edges like that. Not very much, just enough to kind of distress it. Okay, you can see I didn't do quite a lot of that, and that's because I don't want a lot. So I'll put my inks away. So we have everything stamped and die cut and ready to put together. So we'll bring in everything else that we have. We'll start with our very vanilla, thick very vanilla card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And we'll crease that fold. And next we're going to put a piece of DSP on the front of our card. It is 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to use glue to do that. So, and then next will be a piece of Mossy Meadow. It is 2.5 by 4 3/4. It's been put through the Subtles embossing folder, and I'm just going to kind of put that here to the left. I'll put that on with some snail. And I used a little bit more than normal because it is embossed. About 1/4 inch from the edge of the DSP. Now I'm going to take my piece of soft suede that's been distressed, and it's going to go over here about 1/8 inch from the edge of the DSP here. And I'm going to use some snail for that. Okay, now we'll put our image of our lighthouse on there. Now this is going to be closer to the top, so the top and sides will be even spacing with a little more spacing down here at the bottom. Again, just a little less than 1/4 inch. Mostly make sure that it's level. Okay, and then next we're going to put on our ropes. Now you can put these on with little dots of glue, or you can get out on a piece of waxy paper. We could actually even use some waxy strip from our mini dimensionals or our mini glue dots. Okay, so I'm going to turn this so that it's face down and get my snail, and I'm just going to put little places of snail. It doesn't have to be all the way across it. Just make sure you get your ends. Okay, and then that's going to go on the side. I might want to get a little bit more because it needs to be really sticky. Let's see, this is going to be about 1/4 inch from the side of your Mossy Meadow. I'm going to push that down really good. I'll do the other one. Okay, next to that one, about a 1/16 of an inch in between. That one's got a little bit of glue. I'm going to push it to the back. Okay, there's our ropes, and then this one I'll do the same thing with. We'll put some snail here. And I think I could even put some glue dots. I think we could even fit a glue dot back there. Let's see where my glue dots are. I think I could hide a glue dot back there, just for extra. Make sure I can push it back behind the cardstock. Okay, and then this is just going to go kind of right here, as though it was tied on those strips of rope there. We'll bring in our thanks. I'm going to twist that off so that it doesn't bend. I'll put that on with glue on top of a piece of Early Espresso. It's the smallest scalloped die in the layering ovals dies. And I will use glue for that. So I'm going to put this on with some mini glue dots. I'll put 1, 2, so that it's going to be kind of over, maybe 3. It's like in a little triangle there, where it's going to go over the ropes, and then 1, 2, where it will be over this part here. And you're just going to put it kind of right here, next to the lighthouse. Make sure it's level. Alright, so if you're happy with it, then you're going to get, these are the smallest clear epoxy droplets. I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool to put this next to the thanks here, and then these two are going to go up in the top right corner. Like so. Now we just need to do the inside. We have a piece of Mossy Meadow that is 3 3/4 by 5. We'll put this on top. Now I didn't put a sentiment in here because I wanted you to be able to put a sentiment that you liked to go along with the thanks. And our card is finished. This is card number 3 in our Sailing Home Class to Go kit. Check out my website, www.carolbcrafts.com, to see what current class kit I'm offering. Thanks for watching. Bye now.